Yeah.
Live.
Are we live already?
Yes, I said 3, 2, 1 live.
Oh, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Legion. I am your humble DM. I am Matt Mercer's evil brother, Tam, and these are our intrepid adventurers. Say hi, intrepid adventurers.
Hello!
Hi, intrepid adventurers.
So, for legality reasons, that guy down there, his name is Malcolm Mouse, and he's just gonna be listening to us right now. So, hi, Malcolm.
Hi.
Okay. So, you all may see that we are missing a player. Maha's not feeling very well today, so we decided that we wanted to at least go and show our faces. And they made the joke about if I could only look like Matt Mercer with a little bit of long hair. And I pulled out some wigs. This is my shorter wig, and there's a blonde one that I'm going to show all of you later. This hair makes my cheekbones look really good. By the way, everybody, if you didn't know, I went bald at the age of 18. So I have not had hair on my head, like functionally, since I was that young. And M, your fan is literally in my... It's in my soul. It is so loud sometimes I can hear it inside of my brain.
Where?
Thank you so much.
DM, where are you going?
This is going to become an ASMR channel now as we begin to travel out. So,
Is
I
that
want you
better?
all to grab... Yes, I would like you all to touch your dice and just hold them in your left hand for just a moment.
Mine are all hats.
My dice
So-
are packed, so I've got a knife.
Son of a bitch. So what we're doing right now
Put your knife
is
away.
that we want to go and give you all a chance, because a lot. You see, at least one person listen. We're just gonna grab your dice and just. Do you hear that? Do you hear that? Just there you go. I would like you to roll a death save, because I'm going to murder the whole party the next time that we play.
Good job.
I rolled a 1, son of a bitch.
We all live.
That's not very ASMR.
Of course, I rolled a fucking 1. Anyways, so we wanted you to be able to go and
Oh, I
take a
rolled an
second and ask us. Oh no! So you can ask us questions, or you can go and kind of see the history of the game within itself. Malcolm, are you okay? Oh, Malcolm, are you
I
gone?
think he fainted.
Did you?
He
Oh,
muted
shit.
himself. He's doing something naughty.
Oh no.
Malcolm, put your pants back on. Anyways, so.
Oh,
long story
God!
short-
Oh,
Jules! That's not Malcolm. Hello?
What's up?
Hey, you wouldn't happen to know what happened to Malcolm, would you?
He's dead.
Oh.
I killed him.
Oh.
Is that why
Are
you
you-
sound
are you-
like
are
him
you-
and you ate him and that's his voice we hear?
I have a frog in my throat.
Didn't.
Oh god. So you believe in cannibalism? He wasn't a frog.
but they are both puppets.
What does a puppet taste like? Anyways,
High fiber.
It tastes like cotton and sadness. So with that, we wanted to just kind of take a second and have you guys ask questions. If there was anything that you wanted to go and know about the game, if there's something that might be confusing a little bit, if one of our villains is one of those things that you might want to know a little bit more information on. Same thing to the players. If you have any questions and you've just been kind of pounding your head, this might be a good moment to steal some information from me. Have me go and tell you things that I probably shouldn't. Not that I've been drinking or anything, because you shouldn't do that when you're on Twitch, but
Yes, you're allowed to drink while on Twitch.
Yep.
you can drink on Twitch?
Yes,
I have
you're
a
not allowed to take shots. Like, you're not to be like, if you give me a donation, I will take a shot. That is not allowed.
Oh. Well, Lonnie actually has like a legitimate question, it seems. Lonnie, how can we help you?
Where's Osiris?
Where's the service?
Okay, bye. Just casual question.
Casual question.
No ulterior motives.
What I will go and say is this: Osiris is not alive, and that's all you get at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But Osiris is not alive.
Oh, hey, Miguel's back.
Oh, hey, Miguel.
It's very bright without these on now.
I was gonna say, your eyes look really dilated.
Sunglasses, yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
So, Osiris, for some of you that may not know, is a warlord of the land of Terria. Terria is a land up north, and it's an odd place. Black sands, very Egyptian-like in its culture, but its economy is pretty much based on slave labor. So these warlords, and oddly enough, they don't seem to tan, even though they are literally in the desert, and the majority of them are very pale skin. Osiris, or the Scourge of Terria, was one of the most well-known warlords who had gone actively searching for Lonnie because of an item that they stole. And he became obsessed. You see, warlords of Terria marked their bodies in tattoos of victories and of failures. And the one true failure that he ever had was his defeat at the hands of Lonnie. So, and that may also help to understand why the Terrians are now present in Helena. It seems that they may have gotten information. And the Terrian assassins that are there, Sekhmet and the others, seem to have been with Osiris. And they were also waiting for Osiris to return. So, for what it seems, he hasn't made it back to his crew, so they didn't resurrect him, and that also means that they didn't take his body.
So who did?
So
The player has a theory. How many of you are familiar with revenants?
Say that one more time.
Huh?
With
How
what?
many of you are familiar with revenants? Basically, have any of you seen the movie The Crow?
I have.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Well, basically,
One of the best 90s movies ever made, by the way.
Yes.
Just shouting that out there.
Yes. Basically, Revenant is an undead person who they died. Something in their life was left unresolved, so they keep coming back to life until either that issue that's won't let them rest gets fixed, or it somehow gets canceled out. You kill them, they'll pop right back up after 24 hours. But once that thing is resolved, they die permanently. No resurrection, no true wish, nothing will ever bring them back again.
So here's the scary thing. Lonnie, do you have a revenant?
That's what I'm thinking.
Do you have someone that was so obsessed and so full of hatred about the very thought of you being alive drove him to almost committing suicide and attacking you on his own? There's a very good possibility. But, as you've seen, the Terrians worship some dark, spooky shit. So there's also a possibility of that.
It was
There's a
not
few things.
24 hours from the time that.
That is
Lonnie
also correct. It was
killed
not
him
24 hours.
To the
And
time
then he
that we went to go remove his body
poofed out.
when it disappeared. I would
True.
place money on these weird gods because we did just encounter that weird crow guy who eats.
Not his.
dead
He
people.
is not a crow. He's a vulture.
I'm sorry, vulture. I'm sorry.
Thank you
okay,
very much.
You
okay.
mean
That
pedophiles?
sounds like crow guy.
Yeah.
Don't use that word on Twitch. He's one of those weird people that he just really likes Gus. He was slowly caressing his face. And, do you know what they do to children like you in Terria? Would you like to know?
I don't think I do. But
age-
someone
the
has a
age
much better question on chat.
Oh, okay. What's up?
So, 62 Grammel, I
Hello.
hope I'm saying that right.
Yes.
Hello,
They
darling.
ask, if your character wasn't doing what they are doing, what would they do?
Ooh, I like it. So,
First off,
let's
Daniel,
go down.
Daniel, before you start,
Yes.
you look so evil. The shadow over your eyes is like you look like a villain from Batman with that shadow coming down. I just want to say.
No one cared who I was until I put on the wig. But so, out of curiosity, Rory, what would you be doing if you weren't an adventurer?
I'd probably be with Ronan, still doing our usual gig of doing bounty hunter stuff, picking up people, bringing them, and then starting our family. Like having a general 9 to 5 job, and having a little garden in the backyard.
Oddly enough, and I think that this is something that Rory may forget from time to time, they are very much pregnant by everybody, if you guys didn't know that. So that's a thing, and she's adventuring as a expecting mother.
I take full inspiration from orcs from Warhammer, where they carry their child in woven armor, metal. So that is my inspiration for her.
Was that Warhammer?
I like it.
That matter is cool.
Wilbur, if you were not doing what you're doing right now, you weren't somehow wrapped up in all this silliness, what would Wilbur be doing?
I think he'd probably be like more directly involved in the family business, particularly the smuggling operations and such, and also probably trying to expand the tech aspect of things to make it more efficient operation, if you would.
So you see, everyone, a lot of people, and these were from a lot of our earlier episodes, Wilbur and Rory, they are brother and sister. They come from a criminal family. Their father, Father Gord, is well known as a little bit of everything, an arms dealer, fence. He's not really into the killing game. That's not really his jam. He did get involved with some very unsavory people, borrowed some money that he could not pay back, and royally pissed off a creature that he believed just to be a plain fighter was actually a dragon in disguise, which caused the death of their brother Pollock, and is something that they're still dealing with at this very moment. Lonnie, if Lonnie was an adventurer, not out here in this great world about to go and face certain doom in front of the half-god creature that's standing before you now, what would Lonnie be doing?
Lonnie had never been an adventurer, or if Lonnie had just decided to quit adventuring.
Well, you tell us. What would she be adventuring?
Lonnie has always dreamed of adventuring. When she was small, her dad, who was the one that taught her how to sword fight, would teach her stories about, or tell her stories about, all of her family members, various, cousins or uncles or, just various relatives that were adventurers. And something that I'm going to go ahead and say that Lonnie has never thought about is that none of these family members are alive today. It's pretty much just her and her dad. And so I think that from her dad's point of view, these were maybe more cautionary tales. But she saw the grandeur of it. And so she has always dreamed of being an adventurer. If she were to quit adventuring, her eventual goal is to maybe write a book about her adventuring.
With that being said, if you were to quit adventuring, what would happen to poor Umbra? Umbra being the very odd entity that has just found their way into Lonnie's life. That Lonnie just stumbled upon one day in the Underdark in an abandoned altar.
I don't know. See, I don't think that Lonnie plans to quit adventuring for a very, very long time.
Umbra would be very sad if all of a sudden their champion just stopped.
You'd have a really good
I
person
imagine that Umbra might find a new champion,
Well,
but I don't.
keep in mind, everyone.
I think that Lonnie would very much not like that. I don't think that Lonnie would think about it until it happened,
Fair.
But I think that as soon as it happened, she would not like that at all.
That's fair.
I really
And
like the
for those of you,
I
yeah,
re-
no, tell me.
I really
Tell me.
like the idea that like you quit adventuring and then like they are your live-in like friend, partner, neighbor. Like they start critiquing you about your baking and your cooking, and like they get really super naggy.
It's just unending sass.
Because
all
you
day.
see, what a lot of you may not know, Umbra is 3,000 years old. Umbra is so old that there's some things that Umbra still does not understand about the world around them, which is the reason why Umbra doesn't call people by paladin; they call them champions. Umbra is so old and was so alone for so long, they kind of forgot who they were. But oddly enough, as they began to adventure more and they began to kind of follow Lonnie around, they began to gather memories. And all of a sudden, Umbra began to ask Lonnie, could you get something for me? Could you get this? And as they did, they began to remember a little bit. They began to understand a little bit more of who they were and what they are. And even then, I'm going to take this off because the hair is like all up in my mouth.
Yeah, the goggles were starting to hurt my face. That has
Damn,
actually-
you're here.
Hi,
I
everybody.
thought we were talking to Matt
Oh my
Mercer.
god.
Oh, no, Tam, you're talking to Tam, his evil
I mean,
brother.
Tam.
He actually went into the kitchen. I think that he's going to try to drown himself in the sink, but that's besides the point. He's having a moment. I'm leaving him be to it. But somebody said something well, and I took off that horrible wig.
That was me. I was saying that the whole because Umbra has asked Lonnie certain things to explain things that are new things as far as Umbra is concerned, and it's kind of the reason why they don't have this typical, because like a warlock. This is almost a warlock type
Almost.
situation, almost.
Mm-hmm.
But that typical situation is more of like a master servant kind of thing, and,
And the
this is
funny
very
thing
much not
about-
that.
And I was going to go and say, and the funny thing about that is that Umbra would never think of you as a servant. It just doesn't function like that in their mind. Umbra,
And-
honest to goodness, considers Lonnie a friend,
And
which is probably a little odd.
it's hilarious. And Lonnie honestly thinks of the same. She doesn't think of Umbra as like a mistress. She thinks of Umbra as like a friend or a partner, or we're in this together. And
Pretty much.
Umbra has
And-
done a lot to help Lonnie out, and so when Umbra started asking Lonnie to go pick up these, go get that or this, and most of the time, like if it's stealing from somebody as opposed to getting it from a dungeon or a temple or something, usually the person she's stealing from is someone like Osiris, who is objectively a bad person.
Or
And-
the item that they stole from underneath the secret prison in Ilasul.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, for what it seems, Umbra's never asked you to take something from someone who's honest to goodness, good, or innocent in that sense. They just haven't, which speaks
And-
of the oddity of who they are.
And the funny thing is, at this point, if Umbra asked Lonnie to steal something from somebody, it's like they have been together for many years. Lonnie would automatically assume
They're a
that
bad person.
at this point that there is something ulterior going on. Even if they seem like a perfectly upstanding person, Lonnie would trust that Umbra was not, that this type of person was the same type of person that she's been stealing from.
Fair enough. Fair enough. With that being said, Little B, in the odd world that Little B lives in, if Little B wasn't involved in all this craziness right now, what would Little B be doing?
Probably on tour.
On tour?
Be on tour. They'd be on tour. Just going around, making friends, eating food, sleeping wherever they want.
Little B is literally the definition of bohemian. Little B is just living the life, enjoying who they are, making new friends, somehow making a friend out of the very, very undead Vandala. which was seen. Oh, and by the way, this is the spoiler fucking full episode, people. So if you're watching this, I'm so sorry if you haven't seen the other episodes. I should have said that beforehand, but now you know. And Little B actually has a little bit of a memory issue. Little B doesn't know who the hell they are. As a matter of fact,
No.
Little B doesn't even count as a name. It actually means little bard. So Little B just kind of exists.
Just exists. Lil B is just Lil B.
Hmm.
Head empty, heart full.
Head empty, heart full. Which is probably kind of how Vandala works too. Which is probably the reason why you guys work so well. Which, keep in mind, as a little bit of a spoiler to all of you, Vandala's actually chaotic good undead. Letting you know, because he's very odd, and he's probably one of my favorite PCs to play. Now, Gus, if you weren't a terrible, despicable con man who's working his way into these people's lives to hurt them, what the hell would you be doing?
He'd still be a con man. His deal is that he is a halfling. He's not human. He's a halfling adult, pretending to be, up till the last session, pretending to be a human child. Now pretending to be a human teenager. See how well that works, but he would go from town to town using, since he's pretty good at magic and illusory magic tricks and that kind of stuff, he would go town to town scamming people, making them believe he was some sort of chosen one or
Oh God.
magical boy, or maybe every once in a while a faith healer, whatever would work on these little middle of nowhere towns. So he'd probably still be running a scam somewhere else. Oh, and
Hmm.
just to let everyone know, he does still see every single member of this party as a mark.
Fair.
That's fair.
Fair.
That's
He
fine.
he completely believes he's smarter than any of them.
Fair.
Lonnie's got your number though, and the gig is totally up.
And you know what the funniest thing about that is that
He doesn't know
Umbra,
that, so
Umbra in their infinite wisdom, as intelligent as this creature is, finds Gus to be absolutely hilarious. And
Well,
that
it's
is
not
not an exaggeration. That is not it. That is not the DM trying to
then,
be funny.
then why is Umbra trying to spoil my fun?
If you remember, Umbra said to keep it a secret until it was funny.
She did.
She-
That was Lonnie was going to spoil it sooner, but Umbra was like, "No, this is actually hilarious."
This is
And Lonnie
actually
was like,
pretty
"Okay,
Well,
yeah, you're right. This kind of is
technically-
hilarious."
Switching from boy to teenage wizard, I'm sure Umbra finds that even funnier.
He just-
funny.
No.
No? Are you
At-
speaking
at
for
this
Umbra?
point, at this point, Lonnie is like, okay, the whole trying to pretend to be a teenager thing is actually ridiculous. You're not
No.
a teenager, you're a halfling.
Believe it or not, Umbra still finds this quite funny. So I'm just gonna throw that out there to you. But again, Umbra's very strange. Umbra has not been around a lot of people for a very, very long time. So it's a thing
And-
for them.
Lonnie's point to Umbra when this comes up, which it's probably not going to come up for a bit because we have a boss battle. Lonnie's point is definitely going to be, imagine the looks on their face. It will be priceless.
Now
Fair.
keep in mind this is also the same entity that is protecting everyone, watching out for things and whispering little secrets here and there. And even then, they have a very odd sense of humor. Which comes to mind about odd sense of humor. Do we have any other questions? Because I see the
Well,
chat
wait a
moving, but I can't
second.
read it.
What
We
would
do
Eric,
have
do.
more
wait,
questions.
before we move on, what would Eric do?
What would Eric do if he wasn't adventuring?
Yep.
Truth?
Mm-hmm.
If he
Don't
wasn't
s-
adventuring, if he hadn't met all of you,
Yes.
Yes.
I'll give a little bit of both. Eric, before he met this crew, was number 2. Pretty much number 1's right-hand man. He's also a drug addict. Eric would have been used to assassinate one when Prime figured out what was going on. Then he would have taken his place. And I will not give you more details than that because that might spoil some things in the future.
What if he wasn't a number? Ever?
No, that's a big if.
If Eric wasn't a number, Eric would be a teacher.
Aww.
He'd be a teacher. And believe it or not, he would be a teacher in a small little place. And he would teach children how to read, how to write. And he'd be okay with that. He's actually odd in that sense. But if he was still... If he had never met this crew, and if one would have gone unchallenged, two only had two ways out. He was either going to overdose and die, or he was going to become a bigger monster than what one is now. But his future was quite dark. And that is Eric. What other questions do we have?
So the next question is from KitKat8962. What do you
Thank you,
really
Kat.
think of each other? And they want in real life and in the game.
Well, we've already heard Gus's.
In character.
True.
True.
You're all marks.
He thinks we're all a bunch of rubes.
But if you want to know what the player believes, thinks of everyone here, well, Harley, or Dances with Shakes, is my wife. We are married.
My wife.
My wife.
My wife.
And I love her with all of my heart. She is the
Aw.
most important person in the whole world to me. She is everything to me.
Aww.
Everyone else sucks. No, but
I know.
but
Actually,
our
that was really heartwarming, so we'll let you get away with it.
both Francisco and our DM Daniel, we went to college together at
You
one of
did.
the University of Puerto Rico campuses.
That is correct.
So we've been friends for
A long time.
a long time.
For a long, long time.
And Melanie, I recently met, and I think she is a pretty good person, and she has a very adorable daughter, who I think is very cute,
Yeah.
Yeah, her
And,
kid is actually pretty fucking cute, not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
and I appreciate her love for cats.
Speaking of which, where is
And Emily, I think Francisco found himself a wonderful
I
person
did.
to be with.
Thanks.
We are in agreement. So, and
Well,
with
that's
that,
me. I'm done being sappy.
how about the rest of you? What do the rest of you guys think of yourselves?
What do I think about myself?
What do you think? What do
I
you
think
what do you
I'm
think of
a
the others?
horrible
Loaded
person.
question.
Well, what do you think of the players, and then what do you think of yourself amongst these people?
Well, I don't Danny, I met you, and Fran, I've met you only online ever.
Yes, I
Never
know.
really
We haven't
met
met
you
in person.
person. Wait, yeah. I met some of Miguel's friends in person, but I don't really remember.
But not Danny or Fran.
Correct.
I don't think so. Yeah. And Em and I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
just
Melanie,
said
you can
it.
go Lolani.
Emily, I'm sorry, I'm still learning names. You guys are so new. But yeah, I've only just met you, but I think you guys are pretty cool cats.
Meow wow.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
of course,
Okay.
my beloved husband, who holds all of my heart.
Ugh,
Okay,
dude,
that's it. That's
all
as
this-
sappy as
all
I'm gonna
this-
get.
all
I
this-
don't get
all
any
this love-
sappier than that.
all this lovey-dovey shit.
Mhm.
But Emily and Francisco, how about we do a joint answer from the both of you, since you live together, married, all that good stuff, kill people together.
IRL first?
What?
IRL first?
Sure. In real life, let's see. I have only met Miguel and Harley through Francisco and online, but immediately I felt a kinship because I've heard so many stories about you, and I had to remind myself, you don't actually know this person. Don't freak them out. Do not scare them. I know way too much about them.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
And then with Lonnie, oh my gosh, Melanie.
They're one and the same
My
now.
fault for picking a name that's so close to my own.
I jump,
Completely
I jump,
unintentional.
I jump from Lonnie to Melanie all the time. It's all good.
I am amazed with how smart you are, and I think you have a tendency of not pretending you're not as smart as you are, and I think you are sharp as a whistle. Like, if that's
What kind of whistle are you using?
That's not the saying. That's not the saying.
Whistles are very sharp.
Do you want to be a bard?
You're sharp as a whistle there, aren't you? I tell you, round around the edges and just plain old though. Just sharp as fuck. Francisco, save your wife.
Oh, jeez.
So, friend, player-wise, what do you think of the players that you're around right now?
The short answer is I love you all.
Aww.
I only recently met Harley, also online, and I freaking adore her. She is amazing. Obviously, as mentioned earlier, Miguel and Daniel I've known since. Actually, I met Miguel in college. I've known Daniel since high school.
Yes.
So you go way.
We've known each other for a long time.
Like 16 years now at least.
Almost 17 now.
There you go. Melanie, I only met recently through Leo, and
Hi, baby.
I completely agree with them. Definitely, you are definitely way smarter than you let on.
Sharp as a whistle.
Sharp as a whistle.
Sharp as a
Sharp
whistle.
as a whistle.
No, to be fair, have you ever seen a blunt whistle? No. Therefore,
Have you ever seen a sharp one?
that's not the point, Miguel.
Have you cut a person?
Only once. Melanie, I know that you haven't. I know that you've been more of a closer person to our beloved missing player right now, Leo. But what do you think about these silly fucks?
I think you guys are all pretty great. I'm not that great with words when I'm talking, so I will not be as eloquent as all of you. But yeah, I think you guys are all pretty great. I was like the tiniest bit hesitant in joining a D&D group with a bunch of people that I don't know. But Leo is my best friend, and I have known them since 10th grade in high school. And I trust them a lot. So when Leo said that all of you guys were pretty cool and were a lot of fun to hang out with and play with, I trusted them, and it's been everything that Leo said it would be.
Now,
Aww.
Leo is not here at the moment, but I've known Leo since our Tumblr days, and that was a while back ago. Which, if any of you actually managed to find my Tumblr, and I'm talking about our followers, keep it a secret. Keep it safe. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. But I've
I'm gonna
known
ask you what your Tumblr is now.
I've known these people for so damn long, and I've known Leo for even almost as long as I've known Francisco and Miguel. Believe it or not, I am very fortunate. I have had some players that have made me want to shoot myself in the foot. I'm able to kind of bounce off of everyone, and they get a rise out of me, and they get to enjoy me make a fool of myself in front of hundreds of people that go and watch us every Thursday. So that's actually kind of cool. And I will be very frank with all of you. I don't know what I'm doing at all.
Welcome to DMing.
Half of this shit is written. The other half, no fucking clue. So if there's anything that you're like, oh, hey, that was a really cool thing. You must have been planning that out since forever. No. That's just not true. But I will say this. Out of all the group of people that I have played with throughout the years, this is by far the better of the groups. And that's all you fuckers are gonna get out of me. And also, just to let all of you know, there is no such thing as plot armor here. I will kill absolutely any of you in this
Oh, I
game.
believe it. I've seen it happen.
What's it? This is true. So, talking about that, what's the next question?
Leo and I have some backup characters,
Good.
so we'll be good.
Actually, not everyone answered that last question completely.
Yeah.
I did say what my character
I was-
thinks of your characters.
Oh, that's
but
true. That's
Oh.
true. Yeah.
What do your characters think of each other?
That's
Let's
true.
make this one quick because there's quite a few things.
So,
So-
Lonnie thinks you guys are all right.
Okay,
Cool. You know.
you guys are cool, I guess.
You're all right.
If I was gonna be facing across some demonic plane shifting shit, this crew's okay, I guess. It's fine.
All
Fuck
right.
it. I mean,
Lonnie, are you Italian?
Lonnie's point of view is she moves around a lot because, well, she's an adventurer and she has like temporarily joined other people to do something, you know, go through a temple or go through a dungeon or whatever. And so she has temporarily joined groups and then left. And she is pretty comfortable with just dropping people. So it will take a little bit to actually gain her loyalty, but
We're like
I
a
mean, she thinks you guys are all right.
disease. Don't worry. We're like STDs.
there's
They'll
like-
never get rid of us.
they are literally like litter. Once they're on you, it's so difficult to wash them off.
Yes.
Little B, what does Little B think about this group of fuckers that Little B is walking around with right now?
Wow, Lil B has made some crazy friends, but I mean, he thinks all of you are true friends, and he would never like just leave you hanging. But you guys are making some pretty risky moves here.
That's fair.
I'm so glad that there's an actual little bit of common sense in at least one of you bastards.
Not
So,
that Lil B has much to compare by, so I
Fair.
mean, you guys are
That's
like
fair.
one of the first people who's ever bothered to interact with him. So
Wilbur and Rory, what the hell do you think about the people that you've been traveling
We'll
with?
start with each other, I think.
Sure. Well, we're brother sister, so
Exactly,
we
so-
love each other. Love hate each other. I definitely think that Wilbur, Maha, Eric, Ronan, and Lucy are family. Most of them technically are, but like I have adopted them as family, and I'm not quite to the point where you guys have been adopted as family, but you're working on it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say Wilbur, going in no particular order. He thinks that Little Gus is a bit weird. He's actually suspecting that he's some sort of a weird child savant of magic, because he has no clue that you're an adult yet.
Yeah.
Lil B, he's not entirely sure what to make of yet. He's actually worried that he might be in way over his head. Also, Wilbur sees Lonnie as he actually has a lot of respect for Lonnie. He kind of sees her as kind of something of a soldier, if you will. So yeah, he knows that if he gets in deep shit and Lonnie's there, he has no worries about Lonnie trying to step in and fix shit.
What does Wilbur think about Maha?
He's kind of. He would never say it this way, but he kind of thinks of almost Maha as like a child that he's hoping to have one day.
Aww.
Like, I kind of unintentionally kind of made him into a dad for Maha, and yeah, that's actually been a lot of fun to play.
That's so
that's
sweet.
awesome.
I like it.
I guess.
Give me that. Oh yes.
Sorry. Oh, well, I guess that there's two things that I left out. Lonnie, of course, has a history with Maha, where Lonnie
do.
kind of saved Maha with Umbra's help. And so Lonnie feels a little more protective over Maha than she maybe otherwise would have. And also, Lonnie thinks that number 2 is hilarious.
Yes.
She
So
really loves, because she kind of shares Umbra's perverse sense of humor a little bit, which I think is part of why they get along so well.
Probably.
this is true.
And so Lonnie kind of thinks that needling number 2 is a little bit hilarious, and just seeing his reactions to things.
With that being said, I'll actually go and give a little bit of number 2, since number 2 doesn't know all of you in person, but he does know your characters. 2 is a very Because the funny thing is, when I first made 2, he was more of a killer than anything else. But he's no longer that. He's actually become a very complex creature amongst himself, with complex feelings. But what I will going to say is, begrudgingly enough, he has come to care for the people that he's with. And not in a romantic way or nothing like that, but he does feel very close to Rory. As a matter of fact, I'm not particularly sure that 2 can feel romantically. I just don't know if he functions that way. He's very much just kind of about the world that he's in right now. And that's just who he's always been. And I wonder to myself who he'll be without the drugs. So it's one of those things. Things to think about as we go into the future.
I have a question for you, DM.
Sure.
Was number 2 a character that you thought would actually turn into a member of the party? Or
I was going to
what did
have
you
to
think-
betray this group the moment he had the chance. The moment. But before he left, he was going to make sure to kill at least one of them. And that is not a joke.
I believe it.
And believe it or not, it was early in the beginning. And I can't remember exactly what it was. But Maha said something to them. And then Rory said something to him. And then Wilbur kind of just maneuvered around him a little bit. But they treated him with a respect that he hadn't been getting within the numbers. And then he realized he wasn't being watched. He wasn't being focused on as the bad guy.
Except Lucy.
And except for Lucy. And then he just got comfortable. And then all of a sudden he woke up one day and he realized that he was content. And it just kind of happened as stuff like that does happen. It's do not get it twisted. Even although he does care for all of you, he will kill any of you. That's not an if. But it'd be hard. It wouldn't be as easy as it would have been in the beginning. He's a very peculiar man. Give me another question. What you got?
I don't like
What's
the
that?
next
Well,
question.
I'd like to read the next one.
I don't
I'd
like
to
it.
read
Oh,
this one.
I
I'll
don't
read
like
the next
it.
question.
Because it's a
I'll
question
read it.
I've had.
So-
Ooh.
But, Melanie, you go ahead and ask
Oh,
it.
well, I think this will be a quick question. 23 Test Cat asks, does Rory have a death wish?
Yes. Yes.
That's something I've been
Yes.
asking myself for a while.
Fuck.
First off,
Well, Rory, do you say something, Darren?
I don't like these questions anymore. No, Rory does not have a death wish.
I like this one.
Rory does not have a death wish, but she's very much a warrior and a protector. And I know 100% that my brother or Ronan have my back. So when shit hits the fan, I need to protect them at all costs. And first off, I'm definitely pulling inspiration from Warhammer, where you will see female orcs carrying their children on the battlefield. That it's very much death is a beautiful process, and when someone I love dies, I will plant flowers over them, and they will grow and blossom from their dead bodies.
So she's not saying no. Just kind of keep that in mind, everybody.
Shut up, Daniel.
That's not
I do want to add a little bit more to this question.
Sure.
Oh.
Have you thought about your baby, your unborn child, within some of these plans and decisions you've made?
Well, that's the episode.
I
Well,
have.
I am a very impulsive. As one of the things that I have put as Rory's flaws, she's impulsive as fuck.
Yes.
So, as much as I, personally, the player, would never do this to my child. And I feel like I have to stress this again. I, the player, would never
No.
do this.
Let's give a little peace of mind. Emily is probably one of the most sweetest human beings I've ever met in the entirety of my life. You do not have to explain that. But I will go
We're
and tell you
talking
this.
about Rory.
We're talking about
We're
Rory.
not talking about the
And-
player.
And I will go and tell all of you this, and we'll go to the next question. I've never forgotten about your child. The DM is constantly thinking about your child. As a matter of fact, one is thinking about him right now.
I know.
Just kind of keep that in mind. So, next question.
Just like the vulture.
Oh.
Yeah, he's too good.
We have a couple of comments from Grimwall. Speaking of the voice in your head, that's a blaming.
Grimjaw.
Grimjaw, sorry, thank you. Sharp as attack.
I think you meant Umber with that.
Yeah, I think so. My lord, you
I mean,
found
yeah,
my barbarian that killed with his flute. Wait, what? My lord, you found a barbarian that killed people with his flute.
Because of the sharp as
the
a
sharp-
whistle.
Because
The
the sharp as a
Oh.
whistle type.
Okay, Grim, Grim, shut your mouth. I have made this into wood. Desire to bring in Andres and oh gosh, it looks like that is all the questions. So oh wait, this may or may not have been on my mind for quite a while now. The question, not the action.
Right above it. It's the question.
What would your characters think of someone that would be willing to watch a town burn to ensure the demise of something they deem evil?
Well, I know my answer, but
The DM will actually answer this one first, and he's going to answer for 2. I'll show you. Oh, shit. Who else wants to answer that? That's exactly what 2 would think of that. Anyways.
Lonnie
What would
is
you-
the hero of the story. She wants to save everybody.
I would like
Is
Gus would
are
like
there
to save
are
the
there any
gold.
villagers in the town while it is burning? Then
I mean, would
she
it
would
be an
take
empty
issue with
town?
it. There's got to be some other way that we can take care of this evil that does not include sacrificing all of the villagers in the town.
I think for Wilbur, it really depends on what the person means by evil. Like, are we talking, I don't know, 5,000-year-old lich that's about to wipe out half of life on Earth, or are we talking random bandit asshole?
Grimdraw says, "Yep, everyone is still there. Can't let the evil leave with the villagers."
I personally was operating off of that assumption. But if we're talking like 5,000-year-old lich that's about to wipe out half the Earth, well, you know what they say about making omelets and breaking eggs. I'll just leave it that way. Lesser evil like
I feel
bandit raider or something, not worth it. Nope, not acceptable.
I feel that Little B would be against that, to see a whole village get burnt down.
Lil B would definitely, like, knee jerk, definitely be against it. But I don't think Lil B has the mental capacity for such philosophical questions, if I'm being totally honest. I don't think Lil B could fully comprehend the sheer seriousness
The immensity of that.
The immensity of this question.
And that's
But
actually
I mean, Lil B hates to see his friends get hurt.
And it's one of those things that I want to go and mention out loud because I think it's important. When I think of Little B, I think of almost like a child trying to answer a very simple answer. Just going to make more houses. There's less money. Let's just go and print out more money. That type of thinking from time to time, because you've dealt with quite a few people that are like that. You may not have had a chance to see all of it, but for example, the saints themselves are very pragmatic creatures. So for them, sometimes the simplest answer is the best one, even if it is the very unfortunate one.
Fair.
And I feel that Gus would be wondering how much gold is inside that town. before
Gus
you set it on fire.
Gus does not care about the greater good. He only cares about what is the greater good for Gus.
God, you
So
guys, the Death Wish question killed me.
So, Depends. If the evil would affect Gus's life or finances, then he would burn that town to the ground with everyone inside it. But if the evil doesn't really affect him, then he doesn't care. He just walk
And just a
away.
quick note: Grimjaw has specified that he's thinking more along the lines of the greater evil, like the aforementioned 5,000-year-old lich example.
Yeah,
Actually-
then in that case, Gus will set the town on fire himself.
There you go.
I think for
I'll put it to you this way. Actually, Rory, I'm not going to use the 5,000-year lich thing for you. Did you burn down the city to save everyone from one? Rory?
Oh,
would I burn down the city to save everyone from one?
If burning down the city meant that you could stop this in its tracks, would Rory burn down Helena with every single fucking person in it to stop one? Miguel liked that question.
I do.
If there was no way that I could ensure myself killing one without harming another, then yes.
Do we have any other questions?
I don't like you, Kit Kat. Would Two and Rory hook up?
Rory is married.
Oh man, you guys are killing me. Okay. So, Rory,
If Ronan,
what's going on?
if
Is this like a romantic thing that you guys got going on? That you're not telling
apparently
anybody, or
this is like the third time someone has mentioned it to me. Like there's been a lot of sexual tension between Rory and Eric.
You didn't answer the question.
If Ronan,
When
but as a player, I would if
It's
Ronan.
the cuddling.
It's the
Yes.
cuddling, probably. If Ronan was out of the picture, I probably would pursue that as a player.
Ooh.
Do not kill Ronan now, just for this story.
No. Ronan's gonna suffer first before he dies.
Fair.
Anyways, next question.
Oh wait, she's married. I thought she was just a one night thing.
I mean,
No,
what happens in the dungeon stays in the dungeon. Everybody, I'm just kind of throwing that out there to you.
I feel very targeted tonight. No, I'm technically not married yet. I'm engaged,
Engaged, yes.
with Ronan,
They are engaged.
and
Ronan is off to go and protect her family that they're actually hiding from the numbers currently.
yeah. So
Oh, you guys are mean. I love it. I love these. Give me more of the juicy questions.
Pick on Emily. Pick on M. Night.
You guys got anything else?
that
Anything
is
else pop
the
up in the chat?
last question so far.
So, now that we're playing Kiss and Tell, if your character were to start a romantic relationship with a PC or an NPC, who would it be? Little B?
What is romance? How to?
Fair.
What is this romance you speak of?
I don't understand what this is. This
Does not compute.
I feel that Little B's closest thing to any type of romantic feeling would be giving a cupcake to someone and them giving you a cupcake back, and that's probably as far as that would go.
That sounds about right.
A little bit.
Lil B's very platonic. Like Lil B forms deep connections, but I mean, if you're expecting a little bit more, I'm sorry, Lil B just can't. I'm like happy to be great friends. I'll be there whenever you need me, but I can't give you what you need. I'm sorry.
Would you be
I
embarrassed?
feel like this is a Oh.
No, I would feel like really humbled and
Aw.
like you've given me such a great gift, but I can't reciprocate. I cannot return the gift. I will gladly keep it in my heart forever, and I'll always think of you. We'll always be friends, but I can't give you what you need, bud.
Little
So
B is
I think-
too pure.
So,
Wait a sec.
so Gus, since little B isn't pure, I mean, since little B is pure. Wait. What were you gonna say, Em?
What if they kept pursuing it on Little B? Is my question. Would they no
I
longer
think
be a
Lil
friend?
B-
I'll be right back and getting water.
I think no. Once a friend, always a friend. Lil B never leaves a friend behind. Not ever. Don't even dare think of it. Doesn't
Ooh.
work like that.
That would be really interesting to see what it would finally take to
That's
get Little
not
B
to
to
say-
say we're not friends anymore.
That's not to
Yes.
say
That's
that
true.
Lil B doesn't set boundaries.
Little B believes in consensual love, and that is okay. I appreciate that. Now, Lonnie, don't you be giving me none of that love shit. I want to go and know it. NPC, PC. Who would Lonnie allow to go and hook up to just that one time? Just that one time.
Lonnie is not really looking for a relationship at the moment. She likes to flirt. She thinks flirting is fun. But she's not really looking for any permanent entanglements
But
at,
if
at this point in time.
But if something was to happen,
That one night stand
would've-
kind of
who
thing.
would it happen with?
The bartender?
Well, the bartender's sister. The other bartender.
Rosemary would have been up to that. I could have seen that happen.
I mean, honestly, like, she would go. Lonnie would go either way.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And who knows if Tulip is still alive, maybe you can actually get a chance to go see her again.
As far as like anyone from the party goes, I don't know if I think that Lonnie would be a little bit more practical, as like inter-party relationships are not really a good idea.
You know Gus is fair
And-
game.
I don't think she would be interested in us.
And Gus, if there was that if it could just happen,
Romance.
not saying
Romance is difficult for Gus because he is constantly pretending to be a child, but he is still a grown-ass man under that childlike facade.
there you go.
So he likes his women taller than him. And he probably
yeah.
enjoyed it a little too much when Lonnie picked them up.
That makes sense.
And
That
that
makes-
probably explains why he was jealous when Lonnie picked up Lil B instead of him. And he was probably also fascinated by the bar lady, who was
Tulip.
big and buff, and he felt like he wanted a piece of that. But he couldn't blow his cover, so he's unfortunately stuck pretending to be a kid.
So there's that. And that is definitely a thing. And then we found out what would happen with number 2 and Rory.
Wait a second. I have a
Wilbur's not
question
here.
for Gus. Have you
Okay.
ever blown your cover as a kid when you saw someone that you were attracted to?
No,
That would be funny.
That would
the
be
scam
hilarious.
always comes first.
Scam is life. Life is scam. So, talking about that, Wilbur.
Put your headphones on. He's talking to you.
Yo, Wilbur, if you could get a little bit of nookie, a little bit of a one night stand type jam, with one NPC or PC, who would that be, Wilbur?
It's funny because I was actually thinking about that on my way to the kitchen getting MST. Believe it or not, Melanie actually.
Yeah.
Everyone's got the hots for Lonnie.
Now, believe it or not, at first I thought you would say Maha, but then I realized that you had spoken about having a father like relationship with that person, so I didn't see that happening. Now, what I will go and say is, out of the villains, or out of the questionable people that you have met, Windsor, I felt that Windsor would have been mentioned at least once. Windsor would have probably slept with anyone in this group.
Really? I
Just
thought it
throwing
would.
that out
I
there.
thought it
Yes.
would have just been Wilbur.
I can,
Oh, no.
I can see that.
He would have wanted a relationship with Wilbur, but he would have slept with anyone else in this group.
Oh.
Just throwing that out there to all of you, because he finds Wilbur fascinating. But as getting some nookie, getting a little bit of that one night horizontal mambo. That would have he literally would have been down for absolutely anybody in this group, even Maha. And do you know why? Because life is short, and why the fuck not?
Yeah, but Gus is a literal child. Just a
He
little
would have figured
magical
that out
boy.
real quick.
Yeah.
We unfortunately know who the vulture likes.
The vulture.
Oh yeah.
Now, for what it's worth, the vulture is actually one of my attempts to go and make a very grimy, nasty little thing. The vulture does
Bro.
enjoy some very questionable things. Now, me as a DM, if I was to put some pipe down,
Yeah.
you guys want to guess? Because there's literally one player character, not player character, NPC, that I like legit have the hots for because I made them and I don't know why. It's
I feel like number one is your go-to masturbatory.
no number one is very much a power bottom, and I'm not particularly sure if that's really my type of jam. It is actually the first saint that you met. Do you remember the name?
Our first saint was Montgomery.
Saint Montgomery. I have the hots for that PC, but your DM is a monster fucker. He enjoys monstrous looking things. Just, I feel that there is beauty in the horrific. So it's one of those things. Just letting all of you know. So now you all know a little bit more about your DM.
Fantastic.
And what else do we got?
We have from Grimjaw. What would you do if you were woken up by a horse talking to you in game?
Zareb?
I would argue that Lonnie has already been through an experience pretty similar when she woke up and Vandala was there.
Just standing,
Over Rory.
just standing over Rory. No,
That
I
was,
want you all.
I would argue, was pretty similar.
I want you to know that when I rolled for that snake, I rolled a 20, plus the ridiculous number that he has for that. So in total, it came out to just about 32. So it's literally just him, just kind of there, like, hello.
He teleported there.
Vandala is very much one of my favorite NPCs for that. He is so creepy without trying to be, and he can't help it. He just can't help it. He wants to be giving so bad. He wants to be loving so bad. He wants to have friends so bad that he
got a
terrifies
friend.
people.
He's got a friend.
He
He's
does have
not
a friend.
me.
I think the idea of Vandala and his little cult and everything is probably my favorite part of this whole campaign.
Oh, really?
I agree. I think if I had to pick me as a player,
Yeah.
my favorite NPC is probably Vandala.
Really?
Yeah.
Me
I
too.
think
I
if
would
I
have
were
been
saying
really bummed out if the other group would have killed him in the last session.
And I will be honest, as a DM, I would have been heartbroken to see Vandala go, but I am willing to burn down my heroes. So it's one of those things. But I will definitely go and say this: out of all the player characters that I enjoy playing, Vandala is very much one of them. And the reason for that is very simple. I just can't help it. It's I love helping and I love giving out things, and although the world is descending into chaos, I think that well, you know, things can be good, and we can all be part of that, right? Right. And now that he doesn't have his mask and you get to see who he really is, he still feels very accepted. So that I get to play around with a megachurch pastor just walking around trying to convert people to the God of Chaos, the Black Tin God. And talking about that, I saw a question of who do you worship? And out of curiosity, everybody, Lonnie, who do you worship?
I don't know if Lonnie worships anybody. Personally, as a player, that is one of my, what I would say, deficiencies as far as D&D knowledge goes, is I don't know a whole lot about the gods of D&D.
Sure.
So I would have to do a lot of research to be able to pick somebody.
That's fair.
But just offhand, I feel like because she has Umbra with her, and Umbra, I don't think Umbra is a god, but I think that Umbra is to a regular person almost on a godlike level of power. I don't know if Lonnie would worship a god. Seriously.
That's fair.
I like that. Little B, who do you worship?
I don't think Lil B even knows that gods exist right now.
Which is so funny considering how all the
Hello.
shit that they've seen in the past few weeks.
Let alone the fact that you have to worship them. Like, where do you even begin? Like, do you gotta know anything about these people?
How
Do you
do you
just give
even
them
start
stuff?
that conversation? How
Can
does
I-
that even happen?
Can I just give them this acorn? Does that work?
I mean, there are
Are
gods
they
that
my
would be.
friends?
That really depends. The Black Tongue
That's the
God
most-
would be more than
That's the most
happy.
important thing is, are they my friend?
The Black
What?
Tongue God would be more than happy to be your friend.
I have a question for Little B. What does Little B think that temples are for?
I think I think Lil B just thinks that people go in there to sit for a while and maybe sing a couple songs and just look out the stained glass windows.
It's just having
They
a get
don't.
together, man. A get together friends. It's a thing.
So,
It is definitely a thing.
It
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
like
place for meditation.
it sounds like a place for little B. You get to go and sing there, sit there, be with friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you
Jesus.
not in a
Time.
religious cult yet?
Give it time. Give it
I
time.
need to.
I've
I
never
need to
been
close
invited,
my
I
door real
guess.
quick. Be right back. I'll be right back. But on that tone, hey Wilbur, who the fuck do you worship?
Yeah, I don't think he does. Like, kind of see Wilbur as kind of an agnostic in a sense. Like, he knows the gods are real. He knows they're out there, but he doesn't worship any particular deity. He does, however, occasionally pray to the gods, but that's not the same thing. He'll just kind of, if he's desperate, he might kind of like reach out to whoever is most pertinent to whatever's going on. Like, if battle's about to go down, he might try to, call out to a war god or, something along those lines. Yeah.
That just made me think of the bad guy from The Mummy that has all of the little insignias on his chest, and he's just like, you speak the language of the slaves. So, Rory, who the hell do you worship?
Currently, before going on all this adventuring, it was the Green Mother, and I've been interacting with the Black Tongue God a fair bit.
You've been annoying him.
You've been summoned to calling out to him in ways that you probably shouldn't be.
This is fair.
But keep in mind, the Black Tongue God is always willing to listen to anyone's prayers. He's that guy. If your God doesn't want to say hi, I will. So, how about you, Gus? Does Gus worship any entity besides from hard, cold cash?
No, that's about
That's fair.
He
That's fair.
he lives by the rules of Scrooge McDuck. His nephew could swim in.
Fair.
Money itself.
The funny that you mentioned that. Gustav is very much like that. Different con, a lot is YOLOing all throughout this motherfucker. It's just like you only live once. Just boom, boom, boom.
Lonnie's jumping into the room at the end of that was very much indicative of how reckless she is. Umbra has had to get her out of more than one scrape.
Oh, I'm sure.
But Lonnie's just like, it's fine. It's fine. We got through it. It was good. I
That's the
did some
thing.
cool stuff.
You did some cool stuff. I did some cool stuff. Where else we at?
If this one's from Grimjaw again, if you could only save one person in the group, NPC or PC as your character, who would it be?
Wait,
Maha.
did Emily say who you praise? Who was your god?
The Wild Mother, the Green Mother. But I've been
okay.
having entanglements with the Black Tongue God.
Mm.
For all of you, out of curiosity about the Black Tongue God, you'll stay with your curiosity. You
Because I
won't
was
get
like,
any information.
the player is very curious. The player
Just go
loves
and know the
Frank.
Black Tongue God is older than the gods, older than time. It was there before the light, and it will still be there when the light turns out. That's who the Black Tongue God is. So, that save NPC thing. What do you mean by that, Grimjaw? Like save from danger, or like?
I think in general, if
I
you
would-
could save anyone from dying.
I assumed it was like you have two people over a volcanic pit and you could only save one. Which one would you save?
Yeah.
Is what I was assuming.
Actually, you know
Lonnie
what?
would save Maha.
I'm actually gonna fix this question. No. Okay, Lonnie, you're by a volcano. You have one in one hand, and Osiris in the other. You have to drop one and save the other. Who do you drop? Who do you save?
Who was in the first hand?
One, and the other one is
number
Osiris.
one. Okay. Personal grudge. Lonnie has a bigger personal grudge with Osiris. But one seems to be the greater villain. In the moment, anyway. I think that
Gotta
she
save
would
one.
probably drop one because one is the greater villain.
Really? Huh.
I think, yes.
Okay.
There's also the one seems a little bit more dangerous. She's already killed Osiris once, so she
Fair.
it's
She
really
can take him again.
I could do it.
she could take him again, yeah.
That's fair.
And so she's not really worried about Osiris popping up again so much as she's like annoyed that she has to pay attention and watch her back, and
That this
once
jackass
he
is
pops
still
up,
kinda
she's
walking around.
confident in her ability to take care of him. But she doesn't like that he could pop up at any moment.
Okay. With that, I'll go and I'll only ask it to one more other person. Little B, if you could have the deepest, bestest friendship, the friendship that would define you, and you had Vandala, right? You got Vandala in one hand,
Okay.
and you have Little B's favorite sandwich in the other. That's it. Favorite sandwich.
no.
I'm talking about, like, not only was it made fresh, it's got all the ingredients a Little B likes. It smells so good. Even Vandala's looking at it kind of funny, like.
We are not sponsored by any
Sandwich.
sandwich shops.
Is the sandwich ketchup or mustard?
Oh,
Or no, sorry, mustard or mayo.
Ooh.
this matters.
This is important.
I'm going to go and
Mustard or
say
mayo?
that
Roll
Des-
insight! Roll
Destiny-
insight!
Destiny has put mustard on this sandwich for Little B.
What kind of mustard? Honey mustard, regular
I'm
mustard.
gonna say it's honey mustard. It's honey mustard for Little B. I feel like Little B likes sweet things.
I think Lil B would have to choose Vandala.
Oh,
Think about it. Lil B would really think about it, but ultimately, friendship
Well,
is what matters.
I imagine
Maybe-
Lil B would have
maybe-
a cry afterwards
Yeah,
for the
Lil will
sandwich.
cry. Maybe later, Lil B would ask Vandala, "Would you make me a sandwich?" Then, I mean, Lil B could have his cake and eat it too.
Little B, I do want you to know, and this is game breaking, everyone, and I'm very sorry, but Vandala would make you a sandwich if you were to save him, and well, not save him, but decide that your friendship was bigger than the sandwich. He would go out of his way to go and make you one. Just throwing that out there too.
Would it be a regular sandwich throw? Or would it be like a special
It
sandwich,
would be
like
a special
undead
sandwich.
sandwich?
It would be a mad.
Like
No, not an
undead ham.
undead sandwich. No, not undead. Not undead ham. he would go. He knows how to cook, believe it or not. And a little bit of backstory to Vandala. Vandala, before all this happened, was a cleric, and he was a very sweet, run-of-the-mill priest. That's just who he was, and he would cook. He cooks, clean. He maintained the little church that he was in. He is very much what I would describe as to being one of those priests that you would find in like an old Sicilian town. Everybody knew, everybody loved, everybody got along with. They asked them questions and things like that. And you know, when really bad things happened, stuff that really shouldn't be happening in little towns, they wouldn't go to the police. They would go to Vandela. Because they just kind of who he was. And still, in some sense, is. Because, believe it or not, even though he's walking around with a militant group of undead plague nurses, which I'm so glad that I was able to really send it home, that now you all realize why they smell like flowers and roses. But you motherfuckers, you thought that there was something else, didn't you? No. They've been undead the whole goddamn time. The whole time. Do we
If
have another question?
Maha had joined, would they have? Would that be
If
part of it?
Maha had joined, oh man, I thought about this for like a solid like 20 minutes while they were just kind of talking about getting the face mask. And in my brain, as a DM, the only words that came to me was, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. I am royally fucked. Because the moment they pull off this fucking thing's mask, this fight's happening right here. I'm fucked. Anything I had planned for him is going straight out the window. This shit's going down right now. And thankfully, and I think it was Wilbur that was just like, no, I'll make you a hat. I'll make you a hat.
Yeah.
And stop that from happening. But believe it or not, and this is again a little bit of game breaking stuff, but you don't have to die to join. Just the little original group of people that are with him. They all seem to be undead.
Just be a little less alive.
Maybe a little bit less alive.
Remember, when we were in the town, the guard was very much alive, and we could see his face, but a part of the group.
The guard had become a believer in the Black Tongue God. Vandala has sold them on the idea.
I'm glad. It would have been really hard for me to take Vandala seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. But
Next-
so, yeah.
Next question. If your character could use the wish spell once for free, what would your character wish for?
Ooh.
I feel like Little B would wish for that sandwich.
Yeah, but it would be deluxe. It would be both mustard and mayo.
Yeah. Gus, what the hell would you wish for?
Ever since I saw that question pop up, I've been thinking about it, and he would not wish for gold. Because, like I said earlier, he enjoys the pursuit of it.
Mm.
So if he had all the gold,
What's the point?
then what's the point? I think what he would wish for would be bodyguards, big, strong lady bodyguards that can carry him.
Oh my gosh!
All I imagine just now, and I know that a lot of our viewers are very young, but some of you may not know this. Gaddafi, the dictator in the Middle East,
Yes.
had an elite group of female bodyguards that were all virgins. And this is not a joke, this is real life. And they were his crew. These ladies were hardcore killers, and they were around him at all times. And I just imagine Gus in a little Gaddafi-esque uniform and a little beret to the side.
But my guards would look more like the Amazons from Futurama.
Munchie.
I think you broke the
No,
DM.
Snoo.
So
But they're normal
with that,
size.
Wilbur, oh my god, with that wish spell, what is Wilbur wishing for?
Oh, I know exactly what he would wish for. Restoration of the Gord family, brother back.
Same.
You know, return to power, the whole shebang.
Oh, I would just do the dead brother. That's it.
Yep.
Rory would just wish back Pollock.
Yep. I think our family is better off not being in the family business.
Hey, Lonnie, you got a wish spell. Locked and loaded like a gun.
That's a tough one. That's really a tough one. I think that Wani would have to take some time to think about it. There's two major contenders. The first would be just to wish for fame. Just fame for
Be
everyone
known
to-
by every babe, man, woman, and child.
for everyone to know how great she is. The other thing that she would potentially wish for is something for Umbra to be restored or have their memories or whatever it is that Umbra is searching for.
Believe it or not, if Umbra had a wish, Umbra wouldn't wish for their memories back. Umbra would wish. I'm not going to share that. But believe it or not, it wouldn't be for them. Umbra's going through a little bit of an identity thing, and beginning to kind of figure out who they were, and who they are, and who they are becoming. And I don't think that Umbra would want to make a selfish wish. Umbra, as selfish as they can be sometimes, because you know that she can be, is in a weird headspace at the moment, I guess. The world has changed so much. But if Lonnie was to give her that wish, she would accept it gracefully. But she would also try to convince you not to. It's kind of who she is.
Alternatively to fame, Wani would wish for the knowledge of the location of like the most rare artifact that's lost and unknown that she could think of. Because her thought process behind that would be, if I just know where it is, I could go get it,
And you
that
would be
would
famous.
Fair.
That'll do it.
Fair. What's the next question, guys? What you got?
Wait, what would Eric's be?
Oh boy.
For Rory to be happy.
Oh, that's really sweet. I thought he would want to know who killed his mom.
For him, he does.
Right.
There's no reason to wish for something I already know.
That's fair. Next question. Who would you kill instantly if possible?
Who asked that one? Because we just went from
23 test
Whip.
cats.
oh, test. So it'll be, who you killing?
That sandwich.
Lil B would kill the urge to violence. All violence all over the world.
Aww.
It's pacifist creature. You poor thing,
Good
but I love
answer.
it. I love it. I
Good
love
answer.
it. Good answer. Good answer. I like it. Gus, who you killing?
Other than obviously number one at the moment,
Other than one.
probably anyone who would try to give away their secret. Stares at Melanie.
Ooh, shit. Shit.
Like if he
Spicy.
were to see
Shit.
that Lonnie's about to spill the beans, he'd be like, "Death."
I think
God.
Umbra would take offense to that.
Shit.
Fair.
God, that went dark real fucking quick. So, talking about that, Wilbur, who you killing? Yeah. Who you taking out?
Depending on the situation, it would either be number one or that green dragon that took everything.
Lonnie, who you killing? Who Who you putting in? Who you putting in a box?
I think Lonnie has already answered this question.
Kinda,
That's
yeah.
true. That is
I mean,
true.
if Lonnie could pick anybody, it would be between Osiris and one. At the current moment, as far as she knows, Osiris is dead.
Nothing to
He
worry
hasn't tried to contact his people yet. So he wouldn't even be an option.
Fair.
But also, one seems like the bigger villain, and therefore should take most
about. Is
precedence.
the one that's gonna take that hit. Rory, who you killing?
Prime.
Who? Oh,
Huh.
there we go.
For a second,
Somebody
I
went
said
for the
crime.
fucking meat and potatoes. Just killing Prime, dropping that motherfucker like a fucking hot pile of garbage. How different the world would be if Prime was not alive.
Mm-hmm.
How strange things would be. Something to definitely think about. Something to definitely think about. I think Maha might say one, but I think that they might say Prime too. And Maha, I don't know if you're watching, baby, but I'm in your mind. I'm thinking for you.
Would Maha kill one? Or Prime? Or would Maha kill the guy's name that I can't remember, the drow that tortured Maha?
Oh,
Do you mean Ilzat?
Yes. Yes.
High Commander and High Torturer Ilzat, leader of the secret police of
I
Ilzat,
wonder if Maha would kill
Ferdris's
that.
right hand.
Why are you thinking
Now-
paper?
I know that some of you have not met Ilzat yet. I'm going to give you a little bit of a story. I used to date this English girl who was absolutely wonderful, and she had the most English father I've ever met in my life. His name was Nigel, and Nigel was a pilot for the Royal Air Force, and he spoke just like this. But he was very animated when he spoke, and he was always talking very. And his wife was a swimming instructor for the university, and they were just a really great group of people. So when I thought of Ilzat, I wanted him to speak a lot like Nigel, just to drag his words more and to have a little bit more definition when he spoke. I wanted each word to feel like a dagger going across your skin, because Ilzat gets off on hurting people. So it's one of those things.
Sing mode has been redeemed.
Ooh.
Oh, sing mode has been redeemed.
I can't sing like Ilzat. I don't have the talent to
And yet here we are.
Give me the next question, please. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
That's the last one so far.
Who put that sing mode shit in this chat again?
62 Grandma.
Grandma,
Oh, yeah.
Grandma. Grandma, I always think that we're friends until you pull that shit out and punch me in the nuts. It's alright. So, if we were going to ask you another question, me personally,
There is a question in the chat.
I
Grim Joel
see.
says, if you had to sing for 20 minutes in character, what would you sing about?
oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day.
Only
Oh, what a
14
wonderful
seconds allowed.
Everything's going my way. And the hopes are as high as an elephant's eye, and they keep on reaching all the way up to the sky. That's the song that he sings when he stabs. It's like, oh.
Oh, 62 Grandma has another question. What is the next campaign going to be?
What's his next campaign?
Believe it or not, I won't be DMing the next one. I'm passing the mantle to M to do. And then you get to see me play somebody. And I get to do stupid shit on Twitch. Boop, 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 boop.
I think
Unless
we killed
someone else
Melanie.
would like to. And I think I'm going to make a paladin of conquest and make him a fuckboy. Why do a honey bard when you can make a paladin who exists to seduce? You heard me right.
Yes.
Ew.
You, no me gusta. No me gusta.
We need Leo here
I-
because they would have set a timer.
I am not a fan of the horny bard trope. That's why I think that you should make horny everything else. Just throwing it out there to all of you.
Angry,
Because-
horny barbarians.
Angry horny barbarian sounds kind of scary. I would like to rage.
All sexual rage.
Horny warforged.
Oh.
It would have a built-in vibrate.
I would name it War Against the Machine.
I hate all of you.
I think singing time is over anyway.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
sing time's over.
A horny warforged though would be fucking hilarious. What are you programmed to do? To love you. to treat you with all the respect and love that you deserve.
Makes me think of Fallout New Vegas, where
Oh,
you
God.
can reprogram one of those robots to be a sex bot for the bar.
Yep.
I want you all to know.
Yes, Fisto.
If anybody makes a horny warforged or a horny character in general, feel free to. The only things that, believe it or not, because I know that a lot of DMs, I have a few hard no's with certain things because I feel that there's certain things that just don't need to be played up. But for the most part, I do enjoy very witty banter, and I think that flirting in a game is absolutely fucking hilarious, because as long as it's done in that fun way, in that consensual way that everybody's enjoying it, and not just that weird guy at the table doing the whole line. I think your character is pretty. What does their hair smell like? Oh God. You see, because that'd be a bit much.
Yes.
Melody, you look like you want to say something.
That's kind of my goal with Lonnie, because Lonnie is a flirty character,
Yeah.
and she likes to just, casually banter flirt with attractive people that she sees, and she thinks most everybody is attractive.
Believe it or not, I thought that Lonnie was going to attempt to flirt with one to throw him off. I had almost swore that was going to be a thing. And I had never thought of one as a sexual anything. Like, at all. Like, it never even, came into my mind
Fair.
that one would have any type of anything feeling besides from hate and spite towards any other living creature in existence. So, in my mind, I was thinking to myself, if she turns around and just like, hey, good looking. I kept on thinking to myself, what would one do? Besides from, shut up. Be quiet.
As hilarious as that would be, one's very first words to Lonnie were, "Hello, I am the villain," and
Hello. You don't know me
that
yet, but I am
was-
the antagonist of this story.
there was nothing else that you could have had his first words to Lonnie be that would have had the immediate reaction that it did, which was, well,
You're a piece of shit.
I
ain't
am the
you?
hero.
And it's funny because I do love to make a villain that people hate. I love it. I cannot stand. The villain was the hero all along. He was always so tormented. One is not tormented. One actually had a really good upbringing. One is a piece of garbage. He is a hot piece of garbage who enjoys hurting other people. Out of all the people in this campaign that have no redeeming qualities, what the fuck soever, one would definitely be on top of that goddamn list before Prime. And that's saying something because Prime doesn't even comprehend what it is to be human. Prime has no comprehension of good or evil, none of that. For Prime, order is order. One, on the other hand, knows what he's doing, and he could care less. Do we have any other questions?
That
I was
is-
going to say, if I do ever go into the creepy side of flirty, please tell me. I will rein it in.
You hush. Don't you even worry about that shit. And to be honest with you, as if there's anyone that I feel that borderline's creepy here, it's me. I mean, let's all be honest, and that's the reason why I just start macking down on poor Gus. The moment that he comes out as a full grown halfling, it's just gonna be like, "Hey, pretty boy, what you doing for all that magic? I heard that you got a wand that shoots out fireballs."
Delicious. Oh, that's just
I love
wonderful.
Miguel just like, I don't know where to go with this.
I really don't. I was just thinking at some point I'd jump in and just say something about Melanie carrying Gus again, but nope, never mind.
Now, for example, in-game romances, I think can be a lot of fun, and I actually think that when they're done right, they build up a lot of emotion, a lot of. As a DM, I feel that if you're gonna do anything for your characters, immersing them, making them feel like they're part of the world, that their actions have consequences, be them good or bad, small or large, are wonderful. Because all of a sudden, your players realize, if I kill this person, there's going to be a repercussion. If I steal this, something could happen. But if I save them, and if I'm a big goddamn hero, I can actually make the world a little bit of a better place. And I like that idea. I like the idea of players feeling like if though this is important, I actually did a thing. I see faces. Why am I seeing faces? I'm afraid. What's going on in the chat, damn it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay. So, I'm actually gonna give y'all a freebie. Before we close out for the evening, you can ask me a question, and I'll see if I want to give you an answer.
Well, before we do, we have another one in the comment section. Will we see the other NPCs again?
Yes. Yes, you will. You see, this is the end of a major story arc. What's about to happen. And then after this would be the end. You see, once this happens, the next step is to go into the final parts of it. And I'm so ready. And once that happens, you'd be surprised at who you get to see. So yeah, that's the thing, and I'm very excited to go and see it. And I'm very excited to see how this boss fight goes and this TPK, I mean, how this fight goes for everybody. And I want you to know that I have fucked around with the challenge ratings to this 5 times. And D&D Beyond keeps on, it's fine, I swear to God, it's perfectly fine. And I'm just here like, I don't know if it's fine, D&D Beyond. And she's like, no. It. As a matter of fact, after I did everything, it's just like, you should put in another minion. Are you sure, D&D Beyond? Yeah, fuck it. It doesn't matter. It's just like, I think it matters. I get a funny feeling.
The encounter thing is amazing in D&D Beyond because it calculates all what your players are capable of doing. And it does a really great job of balancing it. Because if you've noticed, now this is probably going to anger other people, but DM speaking here, only a couple of us have taken damage.
True.
That is true. And I will actually going to say to all of you DMs out there that are just starting or veteran DMs, challenge rating is kind of stupid. But I will go and tell you this. I am not a fan of making impossible odds. I think that that's stupid. I think that the player should have the ability to take out a major villain at any fucking point. If they make the rolls, they make the plan, do it. And if not, well, shit happens. But villains are not omnipresent. They're not omnipotent. Get him. Get him. And now that I'm thinking about Omni, I'm thinking about Omni Man. And I want you all to go and know, if you have not seen Invincible, watch it and then go and give me a joke, because I have literally been on that bullshit of think, Mark, think, for like a solid like week now, and I literally cannot get it out of my head. Oh, hello, baby. Hey. Oh, she's just chilling there in the back. Do we have any other questions before
Let's see. I like that show. Nope, that is it.
I? But yes, we will definitely be seeing other NPCs, Kit Kat. And out of curiosity, Kit Kat, if you're listening, is there an NPC in particular that you would like to see come back? Just passing that around there. Is there any NPC that y'all want to go and see back a little bit sooner than the others? And if possible, is there any villain that any of you would like to see pop up again like a zit?
Oh,
Kit Kat answered. Lucy.
Aw.
Lucy! Well, I've been thinking about Lucy a lot too, actually. And he's been in the back of my mind for a little bit there. And funny enough, it's kind of odd that you go and say it like that, because Lucy has been kind of walking around in my mind for a bit. And Lucy is very much a bit of a fucker. But Lucy's around. And we might be seeing Ronan and Lucy a little bit sooner than we all think. So just kind of keep it in mind there. Lucy's not gone. He's just doing things and saving people and trying to be a big goddamn fucking hero, with that talking sword of his being a bit of a cunt himself.
I forgot.
But he's around.
is he still
He's around.
pantless?
No, he's got pants on. Ronan had to sit down with him and have a very serious conversation
About
that he is very tired of seeing his junk. And then that we cannot and I want you all imagine this for a moment. Think of the cinematic view with me. Close your eyes and go into your mind theater of a cleric of death and an idiot built like a brick house with no pants on, going into a tavern asking to spend the night. just let that roll around. So yes, Lucy definitely does have his pants on, at least for the time being. And you would be surprised. There's a very good chance that Lucy's going to be around a lot quicker than you think. So just keep that in mind. I'm very glad that someone said Lucy, because I've missed Lucy myself. And to be honest with you, they really could deal with Lucy right now, because they need Lucy to be able to go and do some fuckery. But with that being said, my dear sweet players, I'm allowing you one question.
One question each or one question total?
One question each. I'm going to go and pick the lineup here. Little B, if you can ask your DM absolutely anything right now, and he had to give you some semblance of truth, what would you ask?
Can I get that sandwich?
If you survive this, and you make it out of the Earth Mother's Church, and you tell Vandala, let's make a sandwich, I think there's a very good chance that you could get that sandwich.
I like it. I like
Well,
it.
but- Well, but if you can ask your DM anything, what would you ask?
Damn it, just one. I got so many. Grr.
Just one.
I hold my action? I don't know if that pertains
I'll
to
let you hold.
questions, but yeah.
No worries. Gus, you got one question to ask your DM.
This is Miguel asking the question, not Gus. What would happen to the Migonets if Vandala would have died?
If Vandala had died in that church, there's a very good possibility that there would have been a lot of bodies slowly beginning to hit the floor. Their lives are intertwined amongst themselves. You see, the Black Tongue God gives, but he also takes at an extremely heavy price. Something to think about. Rory, if you had one question for you at the end, what
Well,
would you ask?
first off, I'd like to know: is this meta knowledge? Would we get to know this in game or no?
You get to just ask your questions, but you get to ask.
Okay.
Is that going to be your question, or is that going to
No.
be?
Is Prime pursuing Papa 17 in the shoe?
Ooh.
Prime has an idea that Papa 17 is alive, and he is actively pursuing them. You do not know if he knows that they're in the shoe, but know for a fact that Prime is 150% hunting Papa 17. Lonnie, if you can ask your DM a question, what would you ask?
Will, or is it possible that Umbro would ever have a corporeal body again? Is that something we're working on? Or is that...
Oddly enough, Lonnie, you've begun to see hands now, feet now, a little bit of a cape now. Umbra is working on becoming corporeal. And they're very close. Just a hop, skip away. Believe it or not. And Umbra would tell you that if you asked. Because
I
Umbra's
don't
a little
think that
weird.
Lonnie would ask.
I don't think she would either. Wilbur, it's your time.
Yeah, I got it now.
What you got?
Is there a connection between Prime and Black Tongue God?
Yes.
Are you going to tell us what that connection is?
You only get one question. But yes.
That was
What's your
Gus
favorite
asking.
question that we asked?
What was that, Lonnie?
What was your favorite question that we asked?
Believe it or not, out of all these questions, the Umbra one.
Oh, really?
But the one that really threw me off was the Migonet one. I wasn't
That was
expecting that.
actually my favorite question. Was
I wasn't
the-
expecting that at
was-
all. Like, I
That's
wasn't
cool.
expecting anybody to ask about the Migonets. But they are intertwined in death.
I told you
Vandala.
they're my favorite part of the game.
That is
Oh,
true.
yeah.
You did. They, and you know what the funniest thing is that when I made them, I really thought I would just have them pop up sporadically, and that's what they're doing. But I really do.
I
enjoy them.
honestly kind of regret not asking if I could make my character just random Migonet number B.
Number B. I love
I
it.
mean, I'll put it to you this way: if anything were ever to happen to Gus, and you decided that you wanted to make a Migonet, your DM is fucking down for that shit right there. That'd be some of that good shit. That'd be very sexy. I will go and also say,
Backup character number 1.
I will also go and say for everybody, I am also a firm believer that if a player no longer feels that they want to go and play a character, they feel that they've kind of outgrown them, they can always come to DM and be like, hey, I want to do a thing. I want to do something a little bit different. We can make that work. I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that it shows growth on the player. I think it shows growth in the story. And it's just kind of the way that it happens. And I think a really good example of that I actually saw not so long ago happened in Critical Role. And it was with Sam Riegel when he decided to move forward with another character that wasn't Scallon. And which probably had one of the most emotional scenes I think I've ever seen amongst players of when Scallon just lost his shit on everybody. Just like, what have you ever done for me? And when he turned to all of his fellow players and he said, what is my mother's name? She was killed in front of me by a goblin, the event that forged my life. What is my mother's name? And everybody did the whole... It's one of those things that makes you a little sad almost. It's just there like, oof.
I saw
Ugh.
that.
It's
I've
rough.
got another example.
Mm.
The MCDM game, one of the characters or one of the players decided that he didn't want to play his character, so it's Matt Colville's game.
Mm.
So Matt Colville actually, with the player's permission, killed off his character in a really horrific way, like emotionally horrific. It was. They had only been playing for a couple of sessions at that point in time, but it was really like, oh man, that's awful. And so the player brought in a new character, and it was really cool, and it was like something that made a lasting impression on the characters, because for the characters they had been together with this other character for a while.
For so long, and all of a sudden, and I think character death does that. You know, when you see the finality of it, no
Yeah.
resurrections, no revivify, they're dead. They're not coming back.
It was the town that they were in was getting overrun with the big bad evil guys minions, and it really drove home like the like you said, the finality and the danger and the importance of what was going on at that point in time.
Love it. My last question as a DM to our audience and to all of you: out of all of these silly fucks I voice, which is your favorite voice that I've done? Because I'm kind of curious. Anybody?
Well, there's a lag, so you've got to give them time to.
Oh no, not we'll wait on them. But how about you guys?
Ooh.
I think there's two for me. No, three. Okay. Ilstat was one that immediately when I heard his voice, everything that you have described that you were going for with Ilstat, I was like, you hit the mark exactly. As soon as
I
he
love it.
talked, I was like, my skin crawled, and I was like, oh, that guy.
He's-
You did it perfectly.
He's the worst.
Yeah, Vandala's voice is delightfully creepy. Which perfectly describes Vandala's.
Which describes Manila, really. It's like-
And then Gustav's voice was designed, like, I can see now. Initially, when Gustav talked, I immediately, like, kind of wrote him off as someone who just was going to try and cheat us, because he was a merchant that we met. And then he changed his voice, and I was like,
Oh, you're that guy.
you were giving us that voice and that persona on purpose. That's really interesting. And so I just thought those were really good uses of voices that you have.
I like that. Little Bean, out of all the silly voices that you've heard in the time that you've been watching us, which voice has kind of stuck with you?
I mean, Lil B really likes Vandala. They're pretty good friends at this point. But I would have to say I really like that accent that you have for Gustav. And it's a lot similar to Gus's accent.
is.
And I just, like, it makes me giggle on the inside.
It tickles you pink. And the funny thing is that I've noticed that whenever I start with that damn voice, all of you just kind of start doing the whole, like, look at this silly motherfucker here. And I think it's great. I really, really do enjoy that. Wilbur, if you what character voice have you heard that's just like,
For me, there's actually two. Pretty much like everybody else, freaking love Vandala's voice, and I feel like Elio's voice doesn't get enough love, man.
Yes.
Well, a lot of people don't even know Elio, and Elio was just one of those characters that came out way, way early in the beginning.
Fair.
Elio is a two-headed kobold wizard who has been perfecting cloning technology, and they have a warforged suit that they sit in to use as a whole body, but they're not very big. In general, they're just about 3 feet 2 inches.
and that's just about who they are. And then you have L, and then Io. You speaks a little bit like that. He's a little slow on the uptake, but really likes he likes ice cream, and he likes the color blue, and he thinks puppies are great. And that is the second head on that poor kobold. Gus, speak to me. Which voice do you like?
Think that my favorite is Uncle Gus. And it's not so much the voice, but I think that you have done the same thing I've done in accidentally switching between the two voices.
It's happened so many times. I've had to just roll with it because once you start in one and you wind up flipping into the other one, and I'm just like, okay, he's gonna talk normal now. Then all of a sudden, just like, oh, Gussie boy, I tell you, and it's just like shit, and I can't get out of it. Like all of a sudden, I'm just like stuck on this track. But the same
And
thing
I
happens.
tried my hardest ever since the first session I joined to keep the two voices separate.
Yep.
Until I got those stones and I tell Maha, put the stone in your ear. And that was completely unconscious.
I loved it. I loved everything about it, and that's when I heard that, and I wish that we could go and show like clips, like if this was edited, because I'm pretty certain my face did like, just like bro. So
It
And-
was like a full minute after I said it that I realized what I did.
100%, it was so great. It was so great.
And then
the
I just love when the two of us start talking and we're both
The-
switching back and forth between the two voices.
I will definitely go and admit, out of all of the NPC interactions, anything that happens with Gus usually colors me pink. I don't know what it is. It's just I think it's so funny to deal with this lunatic of a man who's really not crazy. He's very concise. He's very precise in everything that he does. But he's so broken in other ways, and I think that's what makes him great. And I like that about him. And that's kind of how I feel about Vandala too. But Rory, if you had a voice that stuck to you, a voice that really creeped into your skin.
I have two: Mother Margaret and Montgomery.
Oh, everyone seems to forget Mother Margaret. But Mother Margaret is still very much around. She's a black hag. And she's just around waiting, biding her time as she's been banished. But funny enough, where would I go if I was banished from the material plane? There's only one other place, really. The gem. And where's Rory at right now?
You ever heard of sowing your roots? Really lying in your bed and all that fun stuff. Give it a second. And what is the other voice? It was Mother Margaret and who else?
Montgomery.
Montgomery is one of my more favorite characters to be able to allow to speak. Montgomery is very particular in the way that they talk and how they enunciate their words. Montgomery is a white dragon-born saint. She is a broker of knowledge and of other things. But for the most part, she's not very sold on the whole adventuring bit. I'm more of an explorer myself. I am a map maker and a steward of the arts. But we'll see where Montgomery falls in all of this. I'm curious. But, and Montgomery also likes to smoke a good cigarette and have a cup of hot chocolate from time to time.
And one biscuit.
And one biscuit. Only one. I will go and say that I like voicing Vandala because I think that he's quite fun. Believe it or not, when I play one, I do enjoy him because I like playing that scumbag. And his voice is just so... I am the antagonist of all of this, It doesn't really matter what happens now. I'd like to think of him as being a street thug who all of a sudden got a whole lot of power, and he just doesn't know what to do with it. So now all of a sudden this person who was this nobody, who this absolute nothing, who has to claw up his way all through up this, now Do I make you nervous? Why do I make you nervous? I should make you nervous because I'm so big and I'm so powerful. Don't you get it? I feel like he's the abusive boyfriend or abusive girlfriend that everyone's had once in their life and is just trying to get rid of. Now, one asshole that goes and shows up, you are everything that you are because I helped you be that. That's who I think of as one. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing him get his teeth kicked in. So it's one of those things. And Ilzat makes me quite happy. How about the chat? Did the chat tell us anything?
Two of
We
them.
have 2 click clacks and 1 Windsor.
3 click clacks.
Yes. Click clack, click clack. I
Click clack, he likes. He's very happy that you all think that of click clack.
it's I want you to know that that voice was so difficult to go and try to figure out because in my mind I'm like I want him to be big and imposing, but I want him to be able to speak.
You don't seem to understand what I am telling you. I am Lord Click Clack, click clack, click clack.
So it was one of those things. I really do enjoy Click Clack. When Lord Windsor, Kit Kat, 8962. I'm so very pleased that someone would go and think of Windsor again. It's like if everyone forgot that there was this extremely handsome red dragon sorcerer just about in the world, and no one thought of me ever again. But I'm very much here. And very sad, my son Aristotle has been kidnapped, and it seems that the numbers have taken him, so we'll see how that works out. But I will go and tell you this. As I've stated before, my purpose in life is to make the ordinary man less ordinary, to make everyone special in their own way. Weird for a red dragon, but a peculiar creature within of itself. I don't hoard gold. I hoard people. I collect interesting people. Wilbur got so close. He would have taken such good care of you, by the way. Oh, you would have been a sugar baby, but just throwing that out there.
He couldn't
Just
even
throwing
take
that out
care of
there.
his son.
Oh, snap!
I'm gonna take the shirt off in front of I'm gonna throw it down in front of all these people. Well, everyone, with that being said, I have enjoyed this very much. Thank you so much for sitting with us tonight and listening to us just chit chat and talk about funny stuff. We will be back. Hopefully our beloved Maha feels better next week and we're able to just kind of move forward with stuff and be able to go and get everything done. Thank you so much for sitting here with us tonight and asking questions and being so active in the chat, everybody. Thank you so much. You guys made me really happy, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys took the time. I cannot tell you the amount of joy I get from doing this. It makes me so happy to be able to DM again. And it makes me so happy to be able to DM in front of all of you, to be able to do this once a week, to be able to enjoy myself being stupid in front of hundreds of people. And I will say this from the bottom of my heart. I will continue to do it as long as my players wish to play, and as long as you guys continue to watch. And for that, you have my admiration and my thanks. I do not know what will happen the next few sessions. You might not like me very much when all this is said and done. But I promise, I will make anything that happens in here worth your while. So, give me a little bit of credit in that. And, oh, look at that pussycat. I will also go and say this. And maybe this is a bit emotional to kind of end off on, but in the past few weeks, I know that all of you know about the situation with my mom and stuff like that. Being able to get away from everything and being able to kind of sit down with you guys and do this has been really nice. And I just want to go and say thank you. I'm going to thank you for all of the well wishes. I want to thank you for the wonderful fan art that some of you are making and the picture of Vandala that's inside of a Patreon that Little B did, which I thought was really great. All the stuff that Lonnie does with their books and the same thing with Maha and everything else. And it's so weird to go and see people like stuff that you make. I don't know if that makes any sense when I say it like that. But to honest to God, go and see somebody going like, I like that shit. That's some good shit right there. It's like, huh, Okay. And it's just really sweet. And also as a thank you to all of the players for being so good to each other, and our editor for doing all the work that they do, and for everyone that does all this work in the Patreon, the Discord. Jesus Christ, I couldn't do it, but I am very very, very thankful, and I deeply deeply appreciate all of it, and I hope that we see it to its end. And as the Vikings say, it was, then it was not. But it'll be fun along the way. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Be safe. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Get vaccinated. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.